everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, I have another young champion, Will Chicomb, with me. How you doing, Will?
More good, man. Great to be on your podcast.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for sparing the time. You're one of the guys who are big on social media as well as being a very talented athlete. So obviously, I'm trying to reach out to different ages, different people who are interested in different things. But I appreciate you taking the time because I know I'm trying to step up my social media game, and I'm telling you right now, it takes time, man. It takes time editing and that.
Not easy at all.
No way it's long. So, for the guys who don't know you, I'm sure most people who are watching this video are gonna know exactly who you are. But for the people who don't know you, please introduce yourself. Feel free to just go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, most of you guys will know. If you don't, Will Chicomb, 23 years old, natural bodybuilder. Been bodybuilding in total for nearly 8 years now. I've competed twice in my short journey throughout bodybuilding so far. So the first time I was a teen competitor when I was 19 years old, so entered the teen category. I won the British title for that one at 19. And I recently just competed as a junior and a heavyweight, a junior within the PCA Federation, where I came third within the British final. And then I came third again at the British finals for the BMBF as a men's heavyweight in that division.
Yeah, I was there, and it was crazy to see. Like you won't know this, but before I started bodybuilding,
Yeah,
I started researching UK DFBA and BMBF specifically,
yeah.
and your video came up on YouTube.
No way.
Yeah. So you were, I'd say you were. It was either you, Opia, or my boy Cohen. One
Yeah,
of you three. You were the first. You're one of the first that I've seen natural guys stand on the stage. And I remember watching your video, and you came second at the
yeah,
UK DFBA, I think, to a much smaller guy.
yeah.
I don't know who it was. To this day, I don't know who it was. I uh, I think you got rolled, but that's just me.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it, and then I remember people saying how old you were and that, and I was like, "What the hell?" I'm gonna have to stand on stage with guys who are that big, that young. Like, it's crazy. So, you obviously started competing relatively young, like you said. Well, I didn't even say relatively young. You started young, more or less as young as you can start. Um, you've obviously only competed for two competitive seasons. You've said
Right, right.
what what federations have you competed with? So PCA, UK DFBA, and BMBF.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, them three.
What was your thinking? And I ask this because I've always been. What's the word I'm looking for? I've always been. Let's just use the word nervous. That's not really the word I'm looking for. But I've always been a bit nervous standing on stage with guys who are enhanced. And
Yeah,
obviously, PCA is an untested federation for those who don't know.
yeah.
What was your thought process, and how did you feel jumping into a PCA show so young? Because you're still so young.
Yeah. So I knew like going into the competition season last year, like basically the back end of my off season. So I was already, as you know, and most competitors know, you're kind of targeting shows, you're figuring out, all right, if I am lean, down shredded, show ready around in a couple of months' time, see what shows are around. So um I originally just planned to do BMBF last year. Like that was my plan. Um, and included in that plan, I thought I was going to do the juniors because obviously I was like 20, I think 21, 22 at the time, something like that.
Yeah.
I think 22 at the time.
Mhm.
And I specifically just had in my head, yeah, right, I'm going to go into BMBF juniors because that's what I had in my plan in my head for the past 2, 3 years since the last time I stepped off stage as a teen competitor. So that's always subconsciously been there. So I thought I was naturally going to go to that.
Yeah.
So I'm getting close to the show. I started dieting down. I found a coach, Adrian Saxon, who's very experienced, natural bodybuilder,
Yeah.
PCA pro, WMBF pro. So he's coaching me. Like I'm dieting down for the shows, and as it's getting closer, I've started registering for the BMBF, and I've realized like this is literally like I think a month out from the the qualifier show, the Midland show, that I won't be able to do the category that I intended to do, being the junior one. Now, in the junior one, you have to be 23 and under, I believe, day of the British finals or something along them lines.
Yeah, your birthday has to fall a certain place. Yeah.
You have to be under 23, so you can't be 23 on the day. And obviously, I just turned 23.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, damn, like, I fully thought I was going to be a junior, because in the other federations like UKDFBA and PCA and even Two Bros, to be fair, like, you can be 23 as a junior. So I just thought the same thing. I didn't think of it. So I was like, all right, it's a little inconvenience, but you know what? I'm getting in shape anyway. It's a bit too late to go back. So I've got only other choice I've got is to either stop competing now, cut this prep short.
Yeah.
It's going into my natural weight class as a heavyweight at 23 years old. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and go for it. So did that. And as I'm getting close to the shot, I think at this point, I'm literally like 3 weeks out from attending first qualifier show, the BMBF. And my coach is like, yo, you're looking good. Like, I think you should go for the PCA juniors. And for the viewers watching who don't know, the PCA is an untested federation. So you do have a lot of competitors and athletes in that federation who are assisted, which is no problem. My coach was basically like, all right, I think you could take it. So, but obviously when he's saying that, I'm a natural athlete, I'm thinking, you get me? I'm thinking, I'm 40s, I'm thinking, I don't know, man. I don't think I can hang with these guys, you know? Like, for him to, like, I wish, because I was filming the whole prep, like, the thing, I wish I had that conversation, because I was like to him, I'm not competing, bro. I'm not going on. But anyway, long story short, he convinced me to do it, and we went forward with it. And I won my junior class as well as the overall for that qualifier show as well. So yeah, that's pretty much the story to that. And then which led on to obviously going into the British finals for the end of last year's season.
Did you do a finals for the UKDFBA as well last year? Or was it just PCA and BMBF?
It was just PCA and BMBF last year.
I know, because I remember you posting the PCA and I was like, he looks ridiculous. And then the BMBF, obviously I was there for the final. And again, that was a tough class. That was a tough class, man.
Great experience.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you were against Eric. Who else was in there? So it's you, Eric.
There was Kay. I know Kay was there. I know Thomas Wilkins was there. Dude's name, I forgot. Sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful.
No, that's fine.
What's his name? James's coach was there as well.
Josh.
Yeah. Another guy.
Did Luke compete that year?
I think so.
Luke Dunn. He finished.
I think Ade was in that class as well. So it was a big class, stacked class.
No, Luke wasn't there. I keep mixing up the 2 years. Luke wasn't there. Ignore me. But yeah. I remember, it was busy. It was busy as well. It was busier than the year, 2021, which is the year I keep remembering because I competed that year. There was only 4 that year in the British final. With you guys, obviously, it was a few more than that. I'm sure you guys had like 5 or 6 maybe?
I think it was maybe 6 or 7, you know.
Yeah. It was definitely more than 2021. Yeah, now that was do you know what? Out of all the classes I ran out to see, the juniors I really wanted to see.
Yeah.
And the middleweights I wanted to see because my boy Liam competed and he ended up winning the sword.
Yeah.
And then heavyweights. Those 3 classes in particular, and obviously the pros, but those 3 classes in particular, I was like, I need to see these because the heavy hitters, man, the heavyweights are always the ones where I'm like, I need to see what it's like. Because you think even as a middleweight, I'm a light middleweight. I'm not gonna say I'm small, but I'm a light middleweight. So thinking about a big conditioned bodybuilder, like in a category above me, and like when I'm the smallest in my own category, I'm always the lightest in my own category. Like just the thought of like you, Eric, flipping K, all these guys just turning up shredded and just big. I'm like, I
Yeah,
need to see it. Like, I need to see it. But you did not look out of place whatsoever. Whatsoever. You're one of the most talented athletes in the amateur ranks that I'm aware of in the UK. And it was impressive to see in person because that was the first and only time I've seen you in
yeah,
person.
yeah,
It was impressive to see. Obviously, you've already dipped a toe in, and not just dipped a toe in, you've beat presumably enhanced guys at PCA
yeah,
already. Is a big thing, especially even with me, a big thing in the natural game at the moment is the aspiration to potentially naturally get an IFBB pro card. Is that something you've ever thought about?
100%. That is the biggest. That's my biggest goal right now. Like that's my
Yeah,
one. That's like in terms of my main aim in bodybuilding. That's like the next big goal.
yeah.
That's definitely like I, I'm going towards that. So
Is that a? I assume you're taking this year off.
yeah, I'm taking this year off.
I never know with you guys because you guys stay lean. Like you guys can just decide tomorrow. I'm prepping.
No.
Listen, I don't know.
I don't love the stage like that, man.
Yeah, do you know what? Do you know what? This is a thing as well. Like, sorry, let me get rid of my gum. Fucking chewing on that. This is the thing as well because I find that again, you and I are very similar. I'm very similar to a lot of guys. Like that balance between switching it on for the stage when it's time, but when it's not there, we train hard in that and you enjoy your training, but there's other things we're about.
Yeah,
There's other things.
of course.
And I just think to be as talented as you are and still have that balance, I
Yeah,
always find it really intriguing because sometimes even me, even though I've accomplished things that I wanted to accomplish so far, and I've only competed 2 competitive seasons, I
yeah,
still feel like maybe I'm not doing enough because I see some other guys
yeah,
who, again, you never know because social media is deceiving,
yeah.
but you assume based on what they're putting out and that they live and breathe it day in, day out.
Um, my perspective on it is like I don't know. I like the way I see it. I always try to look at the bigger picture and the bigger end goal, and I'm very realistic with myself.
Mhm.
Like, don't get me wrong, like I really do love bodybuilding, and I'm very passionate about it. If I wanted to compete every year, I most certainly could.
Yeah.
However, I have a much bigger goal, and I want to do everything I possibly can to be in line with that goal. Like, I do understand I'm 23 years old, quite relatively young in the game. Those are the facts that I'm highlighting. And I still feel that I have a lot more ground to cover within my foundations in terms of, aside from building my physique, but
Yeah.
actually nailing all the fundamental variables. So in my head, when I'm actually there for bodybuilding, where I'm, 28, 29, 30 years old, when my career starts then, that's where I'm looking at. These couple of years, I'm like, all right, cool. Not that I'm not really concerned with competing. I just know it's building ground. I need to put as much muscle as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
I'm very realistic of the time frame I could do it in because obviously these are my best peak years, so I need to utilize it. So I don't really want to waste valuable, precious time and years dieting down every year for a show because
Yeah.
you and I know, and most people who are in the game know, like as a natural bodybuilder, like your off season needs to be way more important than let's say someone who's enhanced, for example, which is
Mm-hmm.
why in between seasons I take sometimes 2-3 years off, and
Yeah.
then the next time I come on stage, there's a big difference
Yeah.
as opposed to just coming off stage having like a six
Yeah.
to 7 month off
That's
season.
what I was gonna say. 6 months.
Really haven't built anything. Like for me, I've always just had the approach of all right, I'll do like 2 years max, but I'm very realistic in my approach, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I like that. You're very measured in your decision making, and it's a very mature thing because there are some guys obviously who compete almost back to back, and they may be successful doing that. I don't know. like the two guys that I always say set the standard is Nathan Williams as Dave K.
Exactly.
At least for the UK. They're the two that I say set the standard. And
Yeah,
both of those guys take time off from the stage. Both of them
exactly.
do.
Exactly.
Whether it is to grow, like you said, which I agree with, whether it's because their personal lives, they just want to relax and be normal for a year before they come back, or whatever the case may be. I definitely think there's value in it one way or another, whether that's a mental break or a physical break. I think it's important. So that being said, then you're taking this year off. What are your plans next year? Do you think you're going to take another year off to continue to put some more tissue on? Do you feel like you're at a point now where a year may be enough to do what you need to do? Because I personally think you are within striking distance of being where you need to be to at least get a DFAC Pro card.
Yeah.
Obviously, like you said, the big nugget for you, like it is for me and a lot of other naturals at the moment, is IFBB Pro card naturally.
Yeah.
So what's your thought process going forward?
My thought process is now knowing what I know and, being experienced as I am as time has gone on in the game and getting better with my skill in regards to training in the off season is
Mhm.
I feel like a year right now for me is more than enough time. Maybe in my younger years when I was new, it wouldn't have been enough. But like I feel like, as you know, training is a skill. And I
Yes.
feel like I've got to a point now where like, all right, I'm very realistic in my approach. My ego is completely out the door. Like I'm looking at things from numerous perspectives and angles. Like I could take a I could take a back seat for a sec and then look at this, and I could push when I need to. And I really feel like I can make a huge amount of progress within a year. So the plan is to have a successful off season. Not getting too heavy. Like I'm not too far off. I wouldn't say stage weight, but I'm not getting too heavy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You can decide to prep within a reasonable time and you'd be good. Yeah. Yeah. I
exactly.
know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
So the goal is to see how I look then from a year, but I already know in my head I want to be like, I want to take a year off. But realistically, I'll check in with Adrian or someone like that. And I want them to give me honest feedback on whether I've made, even if it's a small improvement for me, that's a big win. That will
Yeah.
give me a green enough flag to be like, you know what? All right, let's give this another go next year.
Well, those are dangerous words because you're talking like somebody who knows how to improve. And one thing I always think about, I started late because I was forced into bodybuilding. I'm not going to go through the whole story. Those of you who know already know. I started late. I think I started competing at 23, relatively late. Obviously, compared to you, you're only now 23. So, yeah, I'm 28 now.
Yeah,
And my first 2 years, my training's never been terrible,
yeah,
but it wasn't what it needed to be a great bodybuilder. Then I quite early on met Opio. He put me on the straight and narrow with how to train and all that stuff.
yeah,
And last year, it was the best year for my training that I've ever had. And a lot of it is that I talk about it a lot now in my posts and stuff because I don't like to talk about things that I don't myself practice. And
yeah,
finding that finding that place where yes, I can move this. I always use deadlifts as a great example
yeah,
because it's a very technical movement to execute properly and to actually feel it. And I can probably move, let's say 240 for anything between 8 and 10 with not great form.
yeah,
I can move 230 for 10 with perfect form. For at least 8 of those reps is perfect. Then willpower comes in and you do a little bit more, which I think is acceptable.
yeah,
I still maintain that. If you're doing everything perfect, it means it's easy. That's not quite it. But this is what I mean. I kind of found a way to hover in every movement, hover between that place, always push myself, but master the form before you put more weight on.
exactly.
And that in itself has brought me so many gains last year. And I plan to make more this year and then come back next year. So we'll see. But I also want to a massive immediate goal for me is to stand on a DFAC Pro stage as a pro. The problem will be timings between IFBB qualifying shows, because if I happen to turn IFBB Pro before that day, you obviously can't do both. That's the only awkward thing. But I would hate myself if I never stood on a DFAC Pro stage. I would hate myself. Yeah, I got to. So yeah, we'll see. I'll try and pick shows in 2024 that can accommodate both. But we'll see. We'll see. I wanted to discuss with you, if you don't mind me moving on. I don't know if there was something you want to touch on.
No, probably just to reiterate more on the training being a skill. I literally had this conversation as well with another guy at the gym, and like he was telling me, he was talking about his friend who his friend's been training for like the same amount of time as me.
Yeah.
He's trying to, you know, compare his result. He's not a bodybuilder, he's sort of like a gym bro.
Yeah.
I
know what you mean.
Like a gym bro.
Yeah.
And I was basically trying to explain to him and his friend that like it doesn't, to me, the time you've been training doesn't really matter.
No.
And I mean that because, like in his case, for example, I don't mean to use him as an example, but it is what it is. It's like, okay, bro, you've trained for 10 years. The quality of your training is not as optimal as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, the gains in return isn't going to be of a stature of someone who's trained for the same amount of time with you, but their training has been very, very optimal and goal orientated towards building muscle. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I mean, like, especially if you've mastered training as a natural bodybuilder. I don't really want to say mastered, but like when you get to a good enough level and you're very realistic with yourself and you can see different angles and perspective for a natural bodybuilder, like you could make some serious gains in 1 year, man. Like,
yeah.
Don't underestimate it, and don't use the excuse of, you know, I'm a natural athlete, because your training is pretty much your bread and butter when it comes to building muscle. When it comes to shutting down on stage, that's what you're going to show anyway. So you better get good at it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm glad you stuck on that point. Two things. I want to reiterate the point you've already reiterated, which is time. The time you've been training doesn't matter.
Yeah.
One thing I always say when I do reference time and training, it's exactly what you just said. So I agree with you, but I'm going to say it in the way that I typically say it, which is a consistent high level of training over a period of time. So when I at 28, I'm trying to catch Dave K, who is mid-30s, and I'm trying to catch Nathan, who's probably 3 or 4 years older than me. They've been training at an optimal rate for a longer time than I have.
Exactly.
So although I'm trying to catch them with optimal training, they've got 3 years in the bank. I'm trying to catch that. Exactly. Whereas like you said, they could have been training for 15 years, but badly. And I could be training optimally for 5, and I might catch them doing that. So yeah. Right. What I wanted to move on to, the business side of bodybuilding. You've got the biggest following of the guests I've had on here so far. Obviously, there are videos that ain't been out yet, but there are guys with decent social media presences and stuff who have also been on here, and there will be more. You've got the biggest following so far at the guys that I've had on here. Balancing, what do you do for a living, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm at uni at the minute. Last year.
Okay. So that's even better. Balancing education. What are you studying in uni?
I'm studying accounting and finance.
Which is even better for me to ask. Because if it was sport orientated, it would make sense that the passion's there. Yeah. So you're doing a similar thing to what my cousin does. He's a professional football player.
Yeah.
And one thing that my auntie, his mum, always drilled into him is always have passion for what it is you dream about. But education needs to be there.
Of course. And
one thing I want to ask is how do you find it balancing such a difficult subject to study in uni as well, by the way?
Yeah.
Doing that, balancing that with also building such a good social media following, which I know is difficult. because as good as a bodybuilder as I am, social media is one thing that I still ain't quite got the hang of yet, and I'm trying to get there, but I ain't quite there yet. And then competing also, because you've still got to train and eat day to day like a bodybuilder, even when the stage isn't there. And then you've got this whole other thing that can literally build the life you live, the house you live in, the car you drive. Accounting can do all of that for you. How do you balance and keep so much focus on all three at the same time?
Yeah. I'd say I'm quite fortunate enough because I got into the sport of bodybuilding relatively young, at 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So as most of you know, like most 15-year-olds, you pretty much have no priorities. You know, I'm at the back end of high school going into college. So like I pretty much have a lot of time and I'm very carefree at that age. But luckily I got into the gym, very passionate about it, absorbed as much knowledge as I could as early as possible and applied that knowledge throughout my teen years where I barely have any responsibilities. And like, I've just naturally progressed from there, as well as like at the level I'm at now, it's sort of kind of second nature. I don't really have to overthink anything so in terms of training, nutrition, or recovery, because it's sort of like, okay, like, don't get me wrong, I still learn new things along the way and I still apply them. But like, I'm talking about just the basic fundamental elements. I pretty much know. So like, that's helped coming in early in the game. But aside from that, it's just actually to add on to that, because I've done it for so long, I kind of know how to manage and work around my lifestyle, if that makes sense, because I've done it for so long. But another big factor is just literally just time management, man. My time management, like obviously since I started uni, I've had to be more cautious and extremely organized. Otherwise, like everyone knows how it goes. One thing drops and it leads to another, and then before you know it, like you lost a whole day, 2 days, 3 days. So it's like balancing university and bodybuilding and trying to, you know, build a following on social media with shooting content, editing, pictures, color grading, you name it. I've literally just had to be like, from the minute I wake up, all right, I've got to do this. If I don't do this, it falls back to 3-4 days. And that's what I'm still now consistently doing on a daily basis. It's just literally managing myself to the highest standard. Otherwise, everything I'm doing, it's no one's going to do it for me, and it's just going to fall off. If that makes sense.
No, it does. And one thing I've taken from what you just said, my application in being a husband is exactly as you just said it. My application in being a bodybuilder is exactly as you just said it. My application in being a homeowner and looking after my house and my things and my car and all that, I'm A1. Comes to social media, it's an afterthought to me.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I fall off, because I don't at all put the same effort into it as that I should. And I do think I've got a decent creative mind for it all. Like when I do edit, I edit my own stuff and I do all this. I've had videographers shoot clips for me and put stuff together, but I like to cut and rejig things the way I want it and the way I view it and all that kind of stuff. It's just the consistency in doing it. And the same way I would tell anybody, don't tell me you don't have time to go to the gym. I can't say that can't be an excuse for me. Oh, you don't have time to edit, because I do. I can make time. So no, it's good. It's good to know. It's good to know. At 23, you're clearly very mature and you got your shit together. Which
don't get me wrong. I feel like I'm only able to do this. I'm fortunate enough to do this. It's the only reason I can attribute it to, and of course, self-discipline and just, you know, being the person I am, is literally because I started at 15. Like I started at the gym then. I pretty much started YouTube then. Pretty much started Instagram then. So like, because I'm in my head, because I've done this as a teenager for that many years, it's sort of like I don't even think about it now. Like it's sort of it's sort of like I don't have to, sort of natural. But don't get me wrong. Say for example, if I was coming into the game today at 23 years old, like I would really struggle. One, because of the lack of experience, and also because, especially when it comes to social media, like, where do you even begin?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
in terms of where do you even begin in
Hmm.
the different departments of, marketing yourself, the type of content you're shooting, editing, finding time to edit,
Yeah.
learning how to use editing tools, going to the gym, feeling comfortable on the camera, like
Yeah.
all these things I've had reps in as a teenager. So now it's kind of like, I don't know, it just comes up. But yeah, if I was to come in at this age,
Yeah.
someone new to the game, I wouldn't be surprised if I struggled as well, to be honest.
Yeah, but I think you'd be fine. I think at you said 15 you started roughly 15, 16. Yeah, 15, 16. YouTube, how old are you? 23, 7 years ago. YouTube was obviously still here, it was still relatively big, but even bodybuilders now, like IFBB pros, guys who are well known on Instagram, are still trying to make a major footprint on YouTube.
Yeah,
So to have the confidence and the belief that what you were doing would pay dividends eventually,
yeah,
that in itself showed a level of maturity and a level of I guess dedication to
yeah,
be consistent in doing that. Like don't undercut yourself because you to believe in something that doesn't immediately pay dividends, you
yeah.
have to believe in yourself. That's inward. That's
Sure.
inward. No one's telling you, oh, I'm gonna give you this if you put out these videos. You're like, eventually someone will see me and I will be seen by multiple eyes. And
Yeah,
you believed in that. So don't undercut yourself because it's harder than again, I think maybe you don't take it for granted that's very strong. That's what I'm trying to say. But maybe you underestimate the skill that you have when you're doing these things because it is so second nature now. I think you might kind of think, oh no, this isn't that big a deal. But all of us would think that in the gym. I've trained with people who are brand new, like my brothers and that they're older than me and all that kind of stuff. And they're strong. Naturally, they're strong guys. But they come to the gym with me and they try to execute something heavy. And it's
yeah,
like, you can't start there, bro, because there's a skill to actually moving that weight up and down. It looks easy to us, it looks
yeah,
like we're just picking stuff up and putting it down or squatting with something on our back and standing back up again. And it's not that. It's not
yeah.
that.
Like, you just made a perfect, clear point there, and it's something that I really try to remind myself on a daily basis to just not take what I'm able to do or just take things in general for granted. Because as you know, we're in this game now. Like, even competing, even competing to me now, like, believe it or not, last year, like, yes, it was a big deal, but I didn't really think anything of it. Do you know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
only until the other day, my mate was like, "Oh my days, like you did really well." And I was looking back at some videos. That's when I was like, "Oh my days, I actually said I was proud of myself." Like months after I did it, but while it was happening, it was kind of like, do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I will admit with competing, prep plays such a big game on your mind.
For sure.
Like I'm looking back at videos because I'm editing now and putting content. I put a video out just before our interview, this episode, and I'm looking through my old files to look for little clips that I can stitch together. And I'm like, gee, man, you are shredded. Like, you look good.
You know
You
what I'm
don't,
saying?
like, it's been over a year. It's been
Yeah,
over a year since I stood on stage. And obviously, I know I won my pro card. So clearly, I was good. Like, but the full grasp of who I actually was on the day, all I'm
yeah,
thinking about, another thing with us, is this relentless pressure we put on ourselves to improve. You don't really take the time to think about what you're good at. You keep thinking about what you're not, especially with me. All my posts are, oh, this is my weakness that I'm bringing up. This is my weakness that I'm bringing up. This is what I want to do to do this. This is what I want to do to do that. And it's like, Gene, if you took a second to actually think about what you're good at already,
yeah.
like maybe you would, because pressure isn't always a great motivator for some people.
Mhm.
Like pressure doesn't get to me. Well, external pressure doesn't get to me
Yeah,
often, like almost never. That's why I'm so good at my day job as well. It's more my internal pressure that I put on myself. I put pressure on myself to
do the same with me.
elevate everything. Like I just started YouTube. This is the what episode will you be? Fifth, I think. Fifth episode. And I swear to God, the fact I don't have like 10,000 subscribers already is pissing me off.
Yeah.
And it's not because I don't enjoy doing this. I love doing this and I love talking to people. This is why I chose this type of content, because this isn't a bother for me. Like, I enjoy doing this,
Of course.
but it's like, man,
Yeah.
like I just want
You're
to
very
keep.
ambitious. You wanna.
Yeah,
I get what you mean.
yeah, but yeah, well, that's bodybuilding anyway. That's bodybuilding. We got to be kind to ourselves, man. Like you said, sometimes you feel like you may take your skill set for granted. I just think it's a typical bodybuilding trait, and a typical athletic trait is that as well. I think so many of us put, like, we're not kind enough to ourselves. Everyone else tells us how great we are. We block that out and we think to ourselves how, yeah.
I actually hate when people give me compliments. Like, I genuinely hate it because it's like, I don't know. I feel like whether it's anything competitive or anything you're trying to be great at, I don't know. This might be a bad mindset to have, but I feel like unless you're hard on yourself and like literally like always working to something, I always say unless you're done, like at the end, like done competing, that's when you can think whatever. But while you're in it, well, for me anyway, it's like I don't want to hear nothing like until I get to this, and then once I get there, it's on to the next one. As
I'm
you said,
exactly, I'm exactly the same.
yeah.
I'm
But
exactly the same. And my
I feel like
missus,
I can't be any other way to get to where I want to get to. Does that make sense?
it makes perfect sense to me. I'm exactly the same. Everything you just said, I say, and my wife always says to me, Gene, like, I'm not confident that you're ever going to just stop. And
Yeah.
because it's with everything with me, it's everything. It's not just bodybuilding, it's everything. I get so obsessive about things in the sense that I just want to be the best now. And
Yeah.
it's like, I don't get discouraged when I'm not, but at
Yeah.
the same time, I'm like, right, I know what I need to do, and I need a year to do it. So I'm going to do this for a year, and then I'm going to be the best. Like, as much as I have massive respect for even your coach, Adrian,
Right.
I know who he is. He's a phenomenal bodybuilder,
Right.
phenomenal. Him, Dave, Nate, Shane Raymond, all these DFAC pros and other natural pros that are out there. Ben Lloyd. I don't want to forget anybody. Obviously, I don't want to run through everyone,
Yeah.
but there's so many great ones that are all ahead of me. Adrian Simpson, all these guys.
Yeah.
And I just think to myself, right, what do I need to be? What do I need to do to be the best that I can be, so that I can beat all of them? And I'm thinking in the next couple years, by the time I'm 30, I'm like, yeah, I should be in a position to, I'll have this and I'll have that in my physique, and I'll have this and I can have that and I can beat whoever. And that's just how I am. And if it doesn't happen, it's fine. Once I get there, and if it doesn't happen, it's fine. I'll be like, cool. I know
Yeah.
I need to do what I need to do now, and next time I'll get them.
Yeah.
That's how I am. That's how I am.
That's how you
Um,
want.
non-bodybuilding stuff. Do you have any? You're very obviously busy with education, business, bodybuilding. Do you have time for like non-bodybuilding activities, hobbies, interests? Is it, again, you started so young? I can only assume that you've kind of fallen into the space of, I enjoy what I do and I do what I enjoy. So you
Yeah.
don't really make time for anything else. That would be my assumption, but
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Basically,
yeah,
yes. Exactly that.
yeah,
So yeah, because I got into it early, it's sort of like this is all I know. Obviously, I enjoy it. I'm not saying the passion isn't 100% there,
yeah,
but don't get me wrong. I still have times where like there's still times where I wanna. I'll still train. Like the main thing for bodybuilding for me, the one thing I enjoy most about bodybuilding is just training, training, training. That's it.
yeah,
Like once I can train, and I get that out of the way, like I'm switched off from bodybuilding. Like I don't care.
yeah,
Like that's how I am,
yeah.
and that's how I've always been. So I pretty much have a good balance when it comes to that. And I'd say I'm not hyper obsessed or hyper focused about bodybuilding. I just know, all right, cool. When I'm in the gym, it's time to progress, even if it's just by a tiny bit, or even if it's just like I've given it 100%. That is enough satisfaction for me because I know that there's nothing else I could have done. And like when it comes to time to competing, I know I'll be okay and satisfied with myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, in terms on a daily basis, for me, bodybuilding is obviously the training aspect. But once that's done, I'm pretty much easy to switch off. You know, I pretty much enjoy my family. I have a girlfriend. I have a dog. So I'm pretty much just a normal dude. But the difference is with me, I feel like I could definitely switch off on bodybuilding. Like I love it, but it hasn't taken over my life. Maybe when I was younger, 15, 16 years old, then teenage years, like, yes, that's all I did, read Arnold, watch bodybuilding videos. But now it's sort of like, all right, cool. I know where I want to get to. I know what I have to do. But at the same time, I'm not going to let time pass away where I'm giving all my attention. I'm giving way more focus and attention that's necessary for something, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. I like that. I like that because as soon as you said earlier that you started bodybuilding when you were 15, that's the first thing that came to my mind. I'm like, yeah, I guarantee you this is all he does, but he loves doing it. So it pays into itself because you enjoy doing it. It directly affects your social media and your business away from uni. Yeah, it keeps paying onto itself. The more you enjoy it, the better you get as a bodybuilder for the stage, all the rest of it. So, and obviously, like you said, it's a practice skill training. So the more you learn, the easier it gets. It becomes second nature. You can do it quicker. You don't have to think about it. So when you're like, right, I've got uni work to do, I've got an hour to train, I know that I can do these movements in an hour without jeopardizing my output. I can just go there and do it quick and then go.
Exactly spot on. Exactly spot on.
Yeah.
I don't like, obviously with the social media now, I see a lot of people that out there, it's relatively new, that they do get into it, but then after 3-4 years, I see them, they're like, all right, I'm done with bodybuilding. And I feel like they sort of burn themselves out, if that's the correct term, because like, no matter what you do, no matter how well you're trying to get to the top, like you mentally, you need periods of, I don't want to say rest, but you need some sort of balance. Like you just can't go at the same intensity all the time. There has to be some level of balance, both mentally and physically. And I'm so grateful that I've been able to identify that within myself. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm over the moon about bodybuilding, but at the same time, I can also not look at anything bodybuilding for like a week and it wouldn't bother me at all.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. It makes sense. So if I asked you now, you're 23. That's just nice round number. 27 years from now. 27 years from now.
Damn, boy.
Yeah. Long time from now. Long time from now. I say, you know, are you happy from where you're at? What have you accomplished? What have you done? And I ask that question because my mind works very far in the future. That's just how I am. So, like I said, I'm very obsessive. So I planned the life I live now out when I was like 8 years old.
Numbers on that, because that's mad, bro. That said 27 years from now. Go on, carry on, bro.
Yeah, you're 50 years old. You're sitting there.
50.
You're 50 years old. You're sitting there and you're going, I ain't quite retired, but I'm slowing down.
Yeah.
You know, the gym, I still go because I like the gym, but I'm obviously not ripping 250 for deadlifts off the floor. You know what I mean? I ain't doing all that. I'm just doing my thing. What is it? Where is it with your accounting, with your bodybuilding, with your social media, with your competing, with your potential IFBB pro card, all these things, all these avenues to create a business, create a life for yourself, you know, build for you and your family and you and your girlfriend and all the rest of it. What pocket do you see yourself in? Where did you spend most of your time building your life? Tough question. Take a minute. It's fine.
27 years time. Honestly, I don't have a right answer for it. But the answer I will give is, with the experience I do learn and the experience that I do go through and the type of person I think I know I am. I know I'll always be, and probably by the time I'm 50 as well, I'll always do something I'm passionate about. So no matter what it is, like, I don't know, I might be 50 and working at a surfboard shop. If I'm enjoying it, I know that's the type of guy, like, that's what I'll do, innit?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the type of person I'll be. Like, whatever I'm passionate about at the time,
Just do it.
God willing, I have my, my foundations covered with, like, what I want to do financially, businesses, whatever. If I've got that covered, then pretty much just want to, I'd say, yeah, just be passionate about whatever I'm doing at the time. If it is bodybuilding, I think I'll be sort of like a Dexter Jackson, just going at my own rate, just chilling. If I want to, probably do sticking at machines, and that's it.
Yeah. No, I obviously I put you on the spot with a mad number, but you're somebody who strikes me as a forward thinker, and you're somebody who, like I've already said, you're quite mature in your thought process. You don't seem to, again, everyone makes mistakes, I'm sure. Everyone does things that they're like, not quite for me, I'll do something else, blah, blah, blah. But you seem to be quite assured in the decisions and the movements you're making. To start something when you were 15, 16 and to stick with it to this time and obviously see the steady growth, like you're somebody who, when you commit to something, it seems as if you're confident that that's going to go the way you want it to go. So yeah, that's why I asked the question, because for me, sitting at 50, so 22 years from now, I would love to be a gym owner.
Yeah. Oh, no way, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I would love it.
Oh,
I would love
carry
it.
on.
Yeah.
I'll go on to that afterwards.
Yeah, I would love to own a gym. I would love to be able to sit somewhere where, yes, I'm not rich on a beach somewhere, not working. That's not necessarily my goal. It's more about having financial freedom and freedom in my decisions day to day. Like you said, something that I'm passionate about. And if my gym is doing well, I'm not the type of person to be like, right, I need to be like the gym group and have 1 million over the world. Yeah. I need one mecca, maybe two, where I know my bills are covered. I'm happy being there. And my family's taken care of, and I can just sit there and be like, I like this environment, I like what I'm doing, and I also have a legacy within the sport where hopefully, no, not hopefully, I'll have my IFBB pro card naturally, and I would have won more than enough pro shows to be, from a competitive standpoint, I would at any given time, because there are guys before me, there will be guys after me. You're never going to be, even other than Ronnie Coleman in the entire sport, Ronnie Coleman's the only undisputed GOAT. The only one. Like, there's no one else. Yeah? But generally speaking, I would like to be, at any given point, I would like to be the Nathan Williams or Dave Kay, the guy who, at the peak of his powers, he set the standard for what natural bodybuilding was at that time.
Right.
If I accomplish that any given time, even if it's just 1 year, I turn up and man are like, fuck, I don't want to stand on stage with him. Just 1 year.
I'm more than confident you will, man.
I hope so. Listen, that's why we work, man. That's why we work. For every time I see myself, again, going back to the bodybuilders needing to treat themselves more kindly, every time I think about my last time on stage, I think, I'm a far way off these, man. And then a year goes by and I look back and I'm like, Gene, man, you're not bad. You're not bad. Like, you might be able to do something, but yeah. Why were you so surprised? I said gym owner.
Well, maybe it's just me, but do you know what it is? Again, not to sound like a broken record, because I feel like it's nearly coming up to like 10 years, isn't it? Like, I've been in the gym, the whole bodybuilding thing. And it's like, for me, bodybuilding of where I am currently in my journey, it's like all bodybuilding is for me. Like, I just want to train just 5 times a week for that 1-2 hours a day. I'm done. Like, the thought of not saying it's a bad thing at all.
No. Go on.
It's just my perspective. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like that would take all the training and the bodybuilding out of me to be a gym owner, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
You know what I mean?
My
'Cause
angle. Go on. No, go on. Sorry.
yeah, because I'm the sort of person where like I want to be intense, but only a specific period of time, and then done, bang. Next day, same thing. Like I'm that sort of person. Like I can't. I feel like if I was in a position to open a gym, I don't know. I feel like, especially if it's something I didn't enjoy, like it just desensitized me to it, if that makes sense. I need to start away from it, and then I need to see it again. Do you know what I mean?
I agree with you 100%. I the
That's
life
why
I
I
live,
find it so interesting. Sorry.
the life no, that's fine. The life I live now, so my job, yeah, my day job, I don't really have set hours. Like we're talking at the moment, and I've got emails popping up in my right hand corner. When we sign off this, realistically, I'm probably gonna start answering emails. I don't have to, but it's just
Yeah.
how my mind is. I can't let things go. And I never truly switch off from my job.
Yeah.
That being said, I don't know why, but I've always had this really good skill of just putting things in their bubble.
Yeah.
I can do it at any given time. And what the gym will bring me is not sitting in the gym every day managing it. I will be there, but it's
Yeah.
not sitting in the gym managing all the time. It gives me an opportunity to do something which I also put so much value in, which is passing on knowledge.
Okay.
That gives me the opportunity to not just say to somebody, this is how to build a business, this is how to run a gym. It's more about, listen, I've been on both sides. I've owned a gym, I've competed, I've been at bad gyms, I've been at good gyms, I've done good exercises, I've done bad exercises, I've been injured, I've been healthy, I've been this, I've been that. And to be able to pass on the knowledge that I find is been very valuable to me, I think just having that opportunity, that's something I'm interested in. Obviously, if I could win the lottery, I say this all the time and I mean it. If I won 100 million tomorrow and I didn't have to work, first of all, I'm only 28. I'm definitely doing something. It'll be a passion project, but I'm definitely doing something. And I always say I would like to build the best gym that Redding's ever seen. That's literally, yeah. Like it's a true goal for me. Like it's something that I thought through, and I'm like, if I had to go to work every day, to go somewhere that has given me so much, or been a tool that's given me so much, I would love to be there. If I was going to be stuck everywhere every day, any day for work, that's where it is. That's where it is. Have you ever had a I assume you've worked like part-time and stuff, maybe?
Yeah.
But you've never had like obviously a block 9 to 5, boom, boom, boom every day. Your mindset. No, actually, no, I'm not gonna say that because that downgrades your life. Hopefully, you never have to do a set 9 to 5, and hopefully you only ever work for yourself and only ever the effort you put in is direct benefit to you and you alone. Hopefully, that's like the only way you ever live. And the way you've operated from the age of 16, I'm confident that that's the way it's gonna go for you, which is very good.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I'd like to think so, but yeah, that's why I found it really interesting. I mean, really interesting when you said that because it's like I don't know, it's just a different perspective. But now the way you've explained it,
yeah,
I can see where you're coming from, and yeah, I could probably think, you know what, maybe that's not bad. Maybe I could see myself doing that as well.
Yeah, I just think if it's a side hustle for you as well, because I think you're onto big things. Even if it's a side hustle for you and it's just something that you oversee and you've got staff there, some young guys who are like you are now trying to make it in the game and they're passionate about being in the gym all the time and they're just hungry and enthusiastic. Who's to say you might really enjoy it? You don't want to be there on the desk every day necessarily.
That's true.
There's different types of gym owners, you know what I mean? And I'm sure they're all equally passionate about it. But some people, with your accounting abilities that you're gonna gain, you might gravitate slightly more to the business side of it and really like seeing the business grow financially.
Okay.
And it's a passionate thing for you because you're about the gym. Yeah, but you never know. You never know. Or you might do nothing to do with that. And like you said, you might end up in a surf shop somewhere on the beach. Who knows? Who knows? Listen,
for real.
You're 23, man. I know. I think so far ahead in the future, which sometimes most of the time it's a positive for me. Sometimes it's not because it adds this pressure to live
Yeah.
life one way. And it's like, Gene, you're 28 years old. There's a million things that are going to happen between you now, like now and 50. And you're thinking about this one route that's like, you know what I mean? So I definitely do my best to be as open-minded as possible and see both sides of things. But
Right.
this is why I like doing this sort of content. Because I've already picked up things from you that
Yeah.
I've not thought about in years. And I'm like, do you know what? I like that. I'm definitely gonna tackle my social media with more emphasis now. Definitely.
One thing I do know for sure is no matter how old I am or however old I live to, is training will always be a part of my life. The intensity, obviously, that will just change for when I'm done competing or whatever. But one thing I know for sure, like working out to me is like it's a thing I love doing the most. So that's something like no matter what, I'll always do. So
I agree. I always plan on being in shape as well. I don't have to be walking around with it like shredded with striated glutes, but but
yeah,
I always plan on being the granddad that is always in shape, always going for a
20-inch
jog.
biceps showing the
Yeah,
grand
you know what I mean? Yeah, back in my day, I used to, yeah, one of them. One of them.
photos.
Yeah. Hey, listen, my missus made me when I turned pro, was it my anniversary gift, I think? She made me a photo album.
Yeah,
And it was like literally my journey from, well, it's not too long a journey at the moment, but 19 to 2020, no, 2019 to 2021. And
yeah.
there's loads more pages left in it. And she's like, before you hang up your trunks, you gotta make sure you fill this book. So
Six.
yeah, man.
So
I'm excited.
little things like that is it's a huge motivation because you know, like, yo, in a couple of years, those blank pictures, they better look wicked.
Yeah, exactly that. I'm excited, man. I'm excited for next year. I'm excited to step on stage next year and try and make waves, try to stand with the best guys. With I don't know who's competing in the DFAC this year. By what you never really know with Dave and Nate because they're
Yeah.
always in shape. So you never really know they can jump in anytime.
Like Nathan, like last minute last year.
I know it was literally, I think he said like 10 weeks, 8 weeks, something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
He just decided to do it. I'm hoping they wait till next year because then I'll compete. Because
Yeah.
as nervous as I am to do it, you want to say you've done it. You want to say you've done it. And I'm not afraid to lose. Like it is what it is. When you're getting beat by the best guys, it's like, mate, you know what I mean. Not everyone can be the best. Someone's got to take second. You know what I
You
mean?
get listen, same with me. I don't mind losing. If I lose to a better man, I'll
Yeah,
shake your hand. Fair
yeah,
enough. You know what I
yeah,
mean? That's no problem. That's never been an issue for me as well. So
yeah.
yeah.
So just one more question before we sign off. Well, two more questions. First one is, so in your mind, I know you've already mentioned that you're gonna check in with Adrian and any other mentors you may have around you to see whether you're ready or whether the group believes that you're ready to stand on stage next year. In
Right.
your mind, though, are you in a place where you're like, yeah, I think I'll be ready next year?
Yes.
Yeah,
What makes me say that answer is like I know, like what makes me confident in that answer is knowing where my skill level at with training
yeah,
and how much effort I know that I will put this year makes me confident that that will go forward. However, my realistic side as well, when it comes to that moment next year, I will analyze myself and see, okay, you know, God willing, have I made improvements? How happy am I with it?
yeah,
Will this package bring me what I want? Like,
yeah, yeah,
and I'll go forward from there. I'd really like to, like, I really want to compete next year. But at the same time, with I'm not deluded with the fact that the amount of work necessary
yeah.
I need to put in between now and you know that last week of the off season, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I'm like I said, I plan 27 years in advance. So I've already I've already decided rain or shine, I'm competing next year. It's happening.
Yeah,
So this year was always a maybe, because I've got some personal stuff going on, positive stuff, but I've got personal stuff going on.
yeah.
So it is an ideal. And then I had a hernia, which is not so positive. I still got it. So I need to get that sorted. It's not really affecting my training though, so I'm training around it.
Okay.
Hopefully it doesn't show when I get shredded, but we'll see. Um, but yeah, my plan is definitely to compete next year. I definitely want to line up some IFBB Pro qualifiers
I
and
can't
see.
wait to do that, man.
Yeah, I can't listen. It'll be classic. It'll be classic physique, obviously, because I ain't got the size to chill with these big guys. But
Uh,
but we'll see, man. We'll see. Listen, I definitely want to get you on and talk some more on another episode if you're willing.
yeah,
We'll discuss again in the future. Where are you based in the UK?
Birmingham.
Birmingham. Yeah, it's not far at all.
Reading. Again? Reading.
Reading. It's
How far?
only, yeah, hour and a half, 2 hours. Hour and a half, 2 hours. So listen, I'm happy. I'm happy. I would be happy if you would take some time. I'll come and link you up Birmingham one time and get a training session in. I know, listen, you're busy as hell, so
No, we'll get down. I'm literally starting. I was talking to some of the guys from the BMAF. I'm literally starting like a off season YouTube like prep series, and
okay.
along like as the journey goes on between prep starts, I wanted to collaborate and link up with as many people in the space as possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely with you, whether I come down, you come up, I'll make sure we've got a videographer on there, have a session, and just reason on there and make some great content out of it.
Yeah, we got a couple gyms around Reading. Nothing in Reading that tickles my fancy, to be honest. I'm traveling out of Reading. I'm either in Bourne End now
Yeah.
or Aldershot.
Okay.
Other than that, it's emergency trips to like Pure Gym and that just to get a push session in or something. But well, I say push session, shoulder session, shoulder and chest session, whatever. But generally speaking, I'm either at Studio One in Aldershot or I'm at Gym Joint now in Bourne End. So yeah, I'm happy to come up to Birmingham. But yeah, we'll talk, man. We'll talk. We'll link up and we'll get a session in.
I want to ask you a question.
Mhm.
I want to ask you a question. So
Yeah.
obviously we're natural bodybuilders,
Mhm.
like right now, might be forever, who knows? But like realistically, with your bodybuilding journey, like do you think you'll stay natural forever, or do you think like once you've made progress, let's just say hypothetically, you got an IFBB pro card and you knew you could be competitive enough, in that region, like would you consider going assisted? Because that's one of the most popular conversations I've had since coming off stage. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I
gosh.
I've refrained from asking you that question because because out of all the people that have been on here,
Yeah,
two are now assisted
yeah,
this season as of last year stepping off stage, they're
mm,
assisted, and
yeah.
then one of them isn't, but in the future might be. So I've tried to refrain asking you that question, but for me, Will, if I'm honest,
Yeah,
I'm never gonna do steroids. It's just not for me. And let me listen. I don't play humble. I am a humble guy.
mm,
Humble might not be the right word. I'm modest. I'm modest. I'm a modest guy.
yeah.
But
Realistic as well. I said realistic as well from what I can see.
yeah. That's what I like to be. And but I believe, Will, that I can do all the things in my mind that I set myself out to do. I
Yeah,
believe not only can I win a DFAC Pro Show, I believe I can get my IFBB Pro card, and I also believe I can win a favorable small Olympia qualifier
yeah,
based on what I've seen in the past for a classic physique show. The only thing that is steering me against that recently is that the class seems to be favoring the taller guys.
okay.
But in the past, like last couple of years, I've seen some guys get to the Olympia, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't. They're obviously bigger than me. That's not going to be the conversation. But for me, even on the natural stage, size has never been the thing for me.
Yeah,
Obviously, I'm fairly big, I guess, but I'm not. I'm not eye catching in terms of my size. It's more a combination of things.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is going to play into my hand to be competitive in the IFBB ranks. That being said, who knows? Who knows? That I can't tell you, but I can tell you I'm never gonna take steroids. The things, yeah, I'm never gonna take steroids. I'm never gonna take steroids. Never say never, but if there was ever a never, it'd be that.
Yeah. I respect that. The only reason I asked that is obviously because, as we know, in the bodybuilding space and how the industry has moved, obviously people are way more open about it. Well, pretty evident about it. And the fact that, like, yeah, it's like every time I go on Instagram or YouTube or something, it's just normal now. That's what I was thinking. That's why I just wanted to ask, because it's like, even I know you mentioned, like, I probably know two of the guys who are on this podcast who have transitioned, and it's just like it's just mad. It's just mad. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So,
and I've seen a couple of I've seen both of the ones I'm talking about in person, and in the short space of time, the size they put on, they both dwarf me now. They both dwarf me. Like it is the changes are rapid, and it's listen. I completely understand the appeal, but when I look at again Dave as a bodybuilder is up there. To me, he's obviously number one because the consistency he brings to the stage. Nate can stand at 100%. He can stand on a IFBB Pro Classic lineup, and he will win a Pro qualifier. And I think there are very few Pro qualifiers that he wouldn't be competitive in. Quite frankly, I could probably name you 6 guys in the entire IFBB Classic physique that will probably beat Nate. I think Nate is that good. And why would I think that of another man and not think that for myself?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That can't run. That can't run for me. That can't run. So I'll ask you before you sign off, is that something you've ever considered?
I'll be completely real and honest. Like, coming up, like, as the years have gone on, I've never ever considered it. Like people have asked me all the time, and like it's never crossed my mind. But obviously, as things have started to, now I've actually started thinking about it.
Yeah.
But now I'm thinking about it, like I've set, like you, I'm very realistic, and I've set my boundaries. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm 23 years old. I have loads more years to, build my foundation. I feel as though personally I'm nowhere near my genetic potential just because of the level of skill in regards to training. I feel like I've just learned to train properly like last year.
Same.
I mean, so if I've built this physique now and I feel like I've just learned to train last year, like imagine what I can do in another 8 years of applying that. That's how my mind thinks. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
To add on to that is with learning a higher skill level to train, applying that consistently over a number of years now. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that I won't achieve the goals I've had in my head.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like, okay, exactly the same as you said. Why would I then not jeopardize that? That's the wrong word. Why would I then look to turn assisted or enhanced? Not that it's a bad thing at all.
No.
Why would I then do that if I know that I have what it takes with enough time and the effort required to get what I want to get anyway?
Yep.
And that's just my approach to it. Obviously, like you said, I understand the appeal for it. Obviously, social media is a huge thing nowadays. And like, it comes with a lot of, I don't want to say short term, but it's like, if you look at the longevity of it, like, it just doesn't, it just, like, the pros don't really draw me in as opposed to, being a natural athlete. And to also add to that point, natural bodybuilding is on the rise. Like, it's getting bigger and bigger globally around the world. Like I heard, like I saw an article the other day. I don't know if it was real or fake news, but like talks of um, obviously that they're at some, I think the Two Bros or something, they have like a
They
natural.
do. They do.
Even their talks of, I don't know if this article was real or not because it was like one of their bodybuilding pages, but there's talks of a natural division at the Olympia. So could you imagine that in the future? Like
I'm surprised it hasn't happened already. Tafo Miji,
yeah,
I'm sure he turned pro at the Two Bros Natural thing. He turned IFBB pro there. I'm sure he did.
yeah,
I'm sure he did. So I know. Yeah, I knew about it already, and I'm surprised. I'm surprised that they haven't already done that. Obviously, they have the Natural Olympia
yeah,
at the moment, but I don't. Yeah, I'm surprised that they don't already have that. With the quality that's out there, especially in Europe, in the
yeah.
US, it's hit and miss. I will admit, from what I've seen, it's hit and miss. But in Europe, in particular, some of the quality we've got here, like, it's ridiculous. It's
And
ridiculous.
like
So
yeah, moving on, but like imagine, let's just say like the Olympia do produce like a natural division, maybe it's like 2 or 3 classes. Like that's way more realistic and more appealing for people who don't want to take enhancing
yep.
drugs. Are extremely passionate about bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm.
It's great from a business sense from there.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're getting way new eyes because now you can have obviously your normal Mr. Olympia, and now
Yep.
you have your natural Mr. Olympia. Do you
Yep.
know what I mean? So, and like I said, to reiterate, like natural bodybuilding is on the rise. So
Yeah.
like that's why for me it isn't as appealing as it is to most people, if that
Yeah,
makes
yeah, yeah.
sense.
No, it makes sense. I agree with you. Obviously, I'm a little bit older than you, so the thought of going on gear anyway.
Yeah.
If I became enhanced, my goal is to be Ronnie Coleman.
Nah, for real.
You know what I mean? It's not to be in classic physique. If I'm
Yeah.
gonna take, I want to do something that's unattainable. That's the point. So the first of all, the sacrifices I need to make, I don't want to make.
Yeah.
Second of all, my wife would leave me. And and third of all, the health risks once you're all said and done. Listen, I love bodybuilding. I am a very multifaceted guy. I can make money in many different ways. I'm not gonna throw my health away for bodybuilding. I'm just not gonna do that. So listen, for me, it's off the table. I don't see the benefit. Maybe if you asked me when I was 21
Yeah.
and bodybuilding is what it is now,
Yeah.
I might have considered it. But yeah, for me at the moment, it's not even a consideration. To be honest, it's never been. It's never even been a consideration for me. I believe in myself way too much to believe that I need that to make waves. Obviously, I'm not going to win the Olympia, obviously. But again, you got to be realistic. But I can do things that I'm proud of
Yeah.
naturally.
That's so refreshing to hear, man. That is
Yeah,
refreshing.
listen, that's why we work, man. We work to be the best versions of ourselves, whether that's enhanced or not, because I respect both sides. Like you've said many times, there's nothing wrong with being enhanced at all. I massively respect it. Some of my favorite bodybuilders across the board are enhanced. Most of my favorite bodybuilders across the board are enhanced. So I'm a massive fan of the sport, regardless of what side you stand on. But for me personally, it's not my route. It's not my route. Will, thank you again for your time. I appreciate it. I will DM you. We'll link up in Birmingham. Let me know when you're free because you're a very busy man.
No, listen, whenever you're ready, come
Yeah.
down. Come man ready on call on speed dial. As soon as you get here, listen, this workout's going down, bro.
I'm gonna shout you. I'll send you my split. You send me your split. We'll work something out, and I'll work something out that matches, and then I'll fly up there. Birmingham's just there anyway, so I'll fly up.
Let's get it done, man.
Listen, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. If there's any topics you want me to discuss with our next guest or whatever, let me know. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Follow Will on YouTube, as YouTube's been here. Instagram, been here. Do you have any other platforms that you use typically?
Nah, I'd say those two are the main ones.
Okay, so yeah, I'll put them both in the description anyway, like I always do. Yeah, I will see you guys on the next episode. Cheers.